Today, we'll be working on my wife's FJ Cruiser. It's an 08. She's just at the 90,000 mile mark, so there's some services we're going to do. We're going to clean the MAF airflow sensor and the throttle body. I've got a can of throttle body cleaner and a can of MAF airflow cleaner, and we'll get started. On this engine, it's a little bit different than what you might find on your FJ, but it'll be the same principles. This one has an aftermarket intake, but very similar to what you'd find on your FJ Cruiser, your Toyota Tacoma, your Toyota 4Runner, same principles. First things first, we're going to start by removing this cover. I've already removed the 2 bolts here that hold the cover in place. It lifts up in the front and just slides out. We'll set this aside. Now, on this motor here, like I said, it has an aftermarket intake, so it'll be a little bit differently, work a little differently, but the principle of the matter is a little bit the same. This is your throttle body, and then this over here is your MAF airflow sensor, and we're going to start by removing it so we can clean it. So we're going to start by removing the connector down here. There's a little tab here. If you squeeze that tab, you should be able just to slide this connector off. If you need some help, sometimes if you squeeze the tab and take a little screwdriver and give it a soft pry. If your vehicle's got a lot of miles on it, be careful because it's easy to break these connectors. Now that the connector's removed, we'll take our Allen wrench and we'll remove the MAF airflow sensor. Now on the MAF airflow sensor here, you've got air flows through, and it measures the amount of air coming into the motor. And one part that you want to clean, you can see is very dirty on this side. It's this little rod right here. I don't know if y'all can see that, but it's black on this side and it's clean on this side. And that's why it's air. The filter doesn't grab everything. So we're going to spray this off, but you never want to touch this little electrode here with your fingers or anything else. You want to leave that untouched. But we'll go ahead. We're going to spray that rod, a little diode down, get it nice and clean. Both sides. Spray the sensor down. We can spray up on the inside here. That's not going to hurt anything. Get the whole thing good and clean here. So if you can see now, that diode, you can actually see some silver on the rod there where it's gotten clean. So I can use a few more sprays. There we go. That's better. I'm going to set this aside because you got to let it dry before you can put it back in the vehicle. You don't want to plug this in and start your vehicle up until it's completely dry. You don't want to cause it to malfunction. So right now I'm pulling off the intake. So that way we can get to the throttle body easier. There's a few breather hoses attached, and mount. Now we got it all loosened up. You want to be careful here not to tear this boot. We want to make sure sometimes it helps just to carefully get a screwdriver in there and get it loose. I'm just going to take and turn this out of my way. So now the throttle body is exposed. You can see here the carbon that's built up inside the throttle body. That's the black there. And we want to clean that from both sides. What that's going to do, that's going to prevent airflow at idle, and the motor is going to compensate by applying more throttle at idle, cause you to possibly run rich a little, and eventually that running rich, if you allow it to happen too long, can plug up your catalytic converters, and those things are expensive to replace. So we want to unplug the connector, and just like the MAF airflow sensor, there's a little plug here, a little clip here. You push that clip, and then sometimes, like I said, if you take a screwdriver and just get in here and give a little twist to it, this is soft, it doesn't take much pressure, just a nice soft twist, it'll help pull that off of there. So I've got my 10mm socket. I'm just going to take these 4 bolts loose. So you can see on the back side of the throttle body, this one's really bad. There's a lot of carbon buildup on the back side of this throttle body. So we'll get this cleaned up. It may even have to put a little bit of a brush to it, but we'll get it cleaned up and get it running better. So, got this sprayed out now. As you can see, there's no more carbon buildup around the outside of this here, or along the bottom edge here. What'll happen is the carbon will build up and it'll block this gap. Your computer will adjust to make up for that lack of air. So now that it's clean, you may run into for the first few miles that you drive it until the computer has time to readjust, it may idle high, but that's normal. The computer will readjust and it'll go back to normal. It just may take it a good test drive or two. So we'll just put it back together in the same order we took it apart. We'll torque the throttle body bolts here to 15 foot-pounds. According to Toyota. I've got my torque wrench set here to 15 foot-pounds. I'm just going to torque this in a cross pattern. I'm just going to double check the first two. And that's torqued down, good to go.